what's happening around the world
and what's happening here at home. A very good evening. You're watching Primetime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you the news, I'm Mariam Ganavijaya.
And I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
Attorney General recalls order to release suspects in Lasantha Vikramatunga assassination case. Adani Group withdraws from 2 wind power projects in Sri Lanka. President returns to Sri Lanka after 3-day visit to the UAE. Supreme Court's determination on the local government election to be tabled in Parliament tomorrow. 1-hour power outage today. Artificially created Mount Lavinia beach erodes again.
Now, in our top story for tonight, the Attorney General has submitted in writing to the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court that the court should disregard his earlier submission that the 3 suspects in the Lasantha Vikramatunga murder case be discharged. This was when the case was taken up today before Mount Lavinia Chief Magistrate Chatrika De Silva.
Officers of the Criminal Investigations Department had taken steps to file a motion requesting court to call the matter in open court today. The officers of the CID filed a report in court and informed court that the Attorney General has advised them on how to proceed in the case. The officers of the CID informed the magistrate that on the 27th of January 2025, a letter was submitted to court requesting for the release of 3 suspects due to no further legal recourse being available against the said suspects. The CID officers informed court that a summary of the investigations conducted was sent to the Attorney General and he was requested to reconsider his decision. The officers informed court that this summary had revealed details on the criminal conduct of the suspects, including concealing evidence and destroying evidence. The officers went on to inform court that after reconsidering the request, the Attorney General had issued another letter dated the 11th of February 2025 advising them not to proceed according to the instructions of the letter dated the 27th of January and that the Attorney General had temporarily suspended the said decision. The officers tendered this order of the Attorney General in writing to court today. The case will be taken up again on the 30th of May.
India's Adani Green Energy says it will withdraw from 2 proposed wind power projects in the Mannar town and Punarin village in Sri Lanka. In a letter sent by Adani Green Energy to the chairman of Sri Lanka's Board of Investment, the company says it would respectfully withdraw from the project. The 2 proposed projects were intended to establish 484 megawatts of renewable energy wind farms in Mannar and Punarin, estimated to cost a total of $1 billion. According to the letter, Adani Green has been under protracted discussions with CEB and various government departments over more than 2 years, along with its associated transmission system, as also additional 220 kilowatt and 400 kilowatt transmission network expansion to carry electrons to consumptive centers in the southern part of Sri Lanka. It added that Adani Green teams had several rounds of discussions with state-appointed committees, and after more than 14 rounds of discussions, approval was accorded on tariff fixed for 20 years for the power purchase agreement. Adani Green also worked on all clearances and licenses. With the exception of the Mannar environmental approval and an associated Supreme Court case, the letter confirmed that they had procured almost all clearances. Similarly, they have also worked on lands for the project as well as associated transmission system. Till date, the company has spent about $5 million on the pre-development activities. The company wrote in a letter addressed to the chairman of Sri Lanka's Board of Investment, quote, "It was learned that another cabinet-appointed negotiations committee and project committee would be constituted to renegotiate the project proposal," unquote. The letter dated 12th of February said that this aspect was deliberated at the board of the company and it was decided that while the company fully respects the sovereign rights of Sri Lanka and its choices, it would respectfully withdraw from the project. The company reaffirmed that it would always be available for the Sri Lankan government to have them undertake any development opportunity if it ever considers Adani Group to participate. Meanwhile, Gautam Adani, the chair of the Indian conglomerate Adani Group and one of the world's richest people, has been indicted in New York over the alleged multi-billion-dollar fraud scheme. US prosecutors charged Gautam Adani and other executives with paying bribes to Indian officials in exchange for solar power contracts. The alleged bribery scheme is estimated to be worth over $250 million. Meanwhile, there has been a growing global discussion surrounding USAID, or the United States Agency for International Development, after US President Donald Trump recently announced his decision to shut down the organization, accusing it of corruption. And this move has sparked a similar debate in Sri Lanka, with various reports naming individuals who allegedly received funds from the agency. This is a report filed by Newsfirst. Let's take a look. The United States Agency for International Development, or USAID, established in 1961 by President John F. Kennedy, is an independent U.S. government agency responsible for foreign aid and development assistance. However, with the re-election of President Trump, Elon Musk, the head of the United States Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, was tasked with reviewing government spending. Musk recommended shutting down USAID due to its involvement in alleged corrupt activities. As a result, Trump has taken steps to shut down the agency through an executive order. Musk explained his position in a recent public statement alongside President Trump in the Oval Office.
That's a worthy cause, USAID?
I think that there are some worthy things, but overall, if you say what was the bang for the buck, I would say it was not very good. And there was far too much of what USAID was doing was influencing elections in ways that I think were dubious and do not stand the light of day.
For the sake of the country, I hope that the person that's in charge and the other people that report to me that are in charge are allowed to do the right thing, namely make sure everything's honest, legitimate, and competent. The USAID is really corrupt. I'll tell you, it's corrupt. It's incompetent, and it's really corrupt.
The controversy surrounding USAID has drawn attention to its connection with various international political situations, including Sri Lanka.
How is Sri Lanka involved?
A report from the Financial Express claims that Hungarian-American billionaire George Soros' organizations received $260 million from the USAID to influence political affairs and destabilize multiple nations.
Who is George Soros?
Hungarian-American billionaire George Soros has faced accusations of funding efforts to change governments in multiple countries. He was also criticized for his role in the 1997 Asian financial crisis, when former Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad publicly accused Soros of causing the economic collapse in East Asia by quickly pulling out investments from the region. Soros is known as the man who broke the Bank of England as a result of his short sale of $10 billion worth of pounds sterling, which made him a profit of $1 billion during the 1992 Black Wednesday UK currency crisis. Soros has been a vocal critic of various world leaders, including Russian President Vladimir Putin and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and has been accused of attempting to influence political outcomes in those countries.
What is the connection between George Soros and Sri Lanka?
The connection between George Soros and Sri Lanka dates back to an economic forum held in Colombo in 2016, a year after a change of government. Soros was invited to the forum, where he expressed an interest in investing in Sri Lanka. However, no actual investments have been reported since his visit. Before Soros' arrival, then Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe had announced the forum in November 2015 during a parliamentary session. Wickremesinghe had revealed that prominent figures, including Soros, would participate. And in his speech, he also said that the goal of the economic plan he was presenting was to make Sri Lanka the strongest economy in Asia by 2023, the year the country would celebrate its 75th Independence Day. This is an excerpt from the Hansard dated November 5th, 2015. Quote,
Arrangements have been made to hold the Sri Lanka Economic Forum. It is significant that people like George Soros and Joseph Stiglitz who are investors as well as authors will participate in it.
End quote. The Economic Forum took place in Colombo on the 7th and 8th of January 2016. During the event, George Soros said that he attended the forum at the invitation of the then Prime Minister. This is an excerpt from Soros's speech. Quote,
"When I was invited to this forum, I looked into Sri Lanka and was impressed with what the government has achieved in such a short time. We are ready to support the government to continue these programs. Members of my foundation in charge of this region, including Asia, are here with me, as are those who make investment decisions in my business." End quote. After the forum, questions regarding Soros was raised in and outside Parliament. On the 11th of March 2016, Prime Minister Wickremesinghe addressed these concerns, providing further clarification. "We did not invite anyone. He came to Sri Lanka and held a forum and invited us to participate. We did not pay for the hotels and did not do anything else." The US President's administration has accused USAID of providing $260 million to George Soros to destabilize the political landscape in several countries, including Sri Lanka. And despite facing serious criticism over these financial transactions and political activities, Soros attended the Economic Forum in Sri Lanka in 2016. Although officials at the time claimed they did not invite him, Soros himself confirmed that he was indeed invited. This occurred amid a time when the country was on the brink of bankruptcy, even as plans were being presented to build the strongest economy in Asia by 2023. This is for the people's attention. Former Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake expressed views on the matter.
The way I see it, if this information is accurate and if George Soros has indeed done this as US President Trump claims, then we need to investigate it further. This is a very dangerous situation. It is being directly said that this action has been targeted at SAARC countries such as Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan and India. If that's true, it is a serious blow to democracy. It's dangerous if foreign influence is causing problems in poor countries like ours, not through the government, but through an external contractor. Back in 1998, similar actions contributed to significant problems in Asia. It was difficult to recover from that, and if this occurs in multiple countries, it poses a great risk. Maybe we need to investigate whether this is indeed the case based on what is being reported.
Businessman Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency has cancelled several projects it identified as wasteful, including a climate adaptation initiative in Sri Lanka.
In a post published on X, the businessman Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency named 2 projects that were cancelled out of the 199. The post reads, quote, "Great coordination across 35 agencies over the last 2 days to terminate 199 wasteful contracts, saving $250 million, including contract for Asia Pacific, Sri Lanka Climate Change Mitigation Adaptation and Resilience Coordinator Services for Forest Service, and workshop for Intercultural Communication Diversity Dialogue Circle, Communicating Across Differences."
A protest was held today opposite the US Embassy in Colombo, demanding that the US ambassador to Sri Lanka leave the country. The protest was attended by former Minister of Public Security Sirasa, along with a group of political and civil activists. The protesters also submitted a letter to the embassy.
President Anurukumara Dissanayake returned to Sri Lanka this morning after participating in the World Government Summit 2025 held in the United Arab Emirates. Newsfirst correspondent reported that the president arrived at the Bandar Naik International Airport in Katunayake on board an Emirates flight. President Anurukumara Dissanayake undertook a 3-day visit to the UAE at the invitation of the President of the United Arab Emirates, Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. During the visit, President Dissanayake held discussions with executives from leading global companies in sectors such as information technology, artificial intelligence, energy, tourism, finance and media.
Coinciding with the President's three-day official visit to the United Arab Emirates to attend the World Government Summit 2025, Sri Lanka and the UAE reached an agreement on reciprocal promotion and protection of investments to strengthen economic and investment relations between the two countries. The agreement was signed by UAE Minister of State for Financial Affairs Mohammed bin Hadi Al Husseini and Sri Lanka's Minister of Foreign Affairs Vichitha Herath. This bilateral agreement establishes a secure legal framework to expand investment opportunities in global markets while ensuring the protection of foreign investments. The purpose of this agreement is to facilitate and strengthen foreign investments between the two nations by ensuring investor rights protection, promoting economic cooperation, and establishing comprehensive investment protection mechanisms, dispute resolution frameworks, and policy structures. This agreement will also contribute to strengthening global economic partnerships and creating opportunities for exploring new investment prospects in Sri Lanka.
The Supreme Court's decision regarding the local government elections will be tabled in Parliament tomorrow. Following this, Parliament will debate the local authorities' elections or the Special Provisions Bill next Monday. If the bill is passed, the subject minister will be granted the authority to call for new nominations for the elections.
Thirteen political parties of the opposition, including the SJB, has made a written request to the Election Commission to postpone the local government elections, which were scheduled for April. Today, representatives of these parties presented the request to the Election Commission and later expressed their views to the media.
The budget debate provides the opposition with more time, including opportunities for committee discussions. We also need to ensure the quorum is maintained and that everything is done properly. Holding elections during the Sinhala New Year season would result in great injustice to the candidates. We are not asking for a long delay, but we are requesting that the election be held after this period. We have already deposited a significant amount of money as bonds for the last local government election nominations. It is difficult for us to pay this amount again, especially since we can only deposit the bond once we have received the funds that were previously returned to us.
Former President Ranil Wickremesinghe met with representatives of several opposition political parties in Colombo today. It was reported that former President Maithripala Sirisena was also present at the meeting. A group that represented the gas cylinder symbol at the recent general election participated in the meeting. Udaya Gammanpilla, who contested the election under the Sarvajana Balaya, was also present at the meeting.
නෑ අපි එහෙම ලොකු සාකච්ඡාවක් නෙමෙයි අපි නිකන් කෝපි එකක් බිව් එක නිකලේ අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කෝපි එකක් ජනාධිපතිතුමාත් ආසයි කෝපියක් බොන්න මමත් ආසයි කෝපියක් බොන්න ඉතින් කෝපියක් බිව්වා
ආණ්ඩුවට නැති සියලු දේශපාලන පක්ෂ එකහුව වෙලා අපි තත්ත්වයන් ගැන සමාලෝචනය කරනවා එච්චරයි ඔව් සියලු දෙනා මිතුරන් වෙනවනේ ඔව් පොදු වතුරට විරුද්ධව මිතුරන් වෙනවා
අයිබන් මොකද අත්තේ මොකද අත්තේ තත්ත්වය හොඳයි මොකද්ද මේ සාකච්ඡාව සාකච්ඡා පොඩක් කියලා ඔබතුමාලගේ මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන මහත්තයත් ඇවිල්ලා ඒකට සාකච්ඡාවක් නේද ඔක්කොම මොකද යාළුවනාද යාළුවලා ගොඩක් දැන් මොකද අලුත් සම්දානයක් හදන්නේ
සමගි ජන බලවේගයේ කවුරුත් අද පැමිණලා නැහැ මම හිතන්නේ ඉදිරියේදී මේ සාකච්ඡා වලට ඒගොල්ලොනුත් එකතු වෙයි කියලා මම හිතනවා
දැන් කොහොමද සාකච්ඡා සාර්ථකයිද
සාකච්ඡා සාර්ථකයි වඳුරු හිටියේ නැහැ වඳුරු හිටියේ නැහැ හිතන් ප්‍රශ්නයක් වුණේ නැහැ
දැන් මේ මෛත්‍රීපාල මහත්තයත් ආවනේ ආයේ එකතු කරගන්නවද ඔව් අතරම දැන් සාර්ථකයිද හොඳයි තේ බිව්වා ගොඩක් හොඳයි ගොඩක් හොඳයි කියන්නේ තේ එහෙම බිව්වේ ඉතින් ගොඩක් කියන්නේ මේ මෛත්‍රීපාල මහත්තයත් ආවනේ මොකොත්ම කියන්නද මේ මෛත්‍රීපාල මහත්තයා මොකෝ කියන්නේ සාකච්ඡාව හොඳ එච්චරයි. මේ මොකක් සාකච්ඡාව පොඩක් කියන්න. අද සර් පොඩක් කියන්න පොඩක් පාටි එකකට. මේ ගිහලා බලන්න මොකක්ද කියලා මම පාටි එකකට. එන දොර. සර් පොඩක් කලාව.
The Ceylon Electricity Board says that there would be a power outage for 1 hour today as the Norachole power plant remains inactive. The CEB announced power outages between 5 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. today. The Ceylon Electricity Board has announced that power cuts will continue with outages divided into specific zones. The CEB said the times for disconnection and restoration of power may vary by up to 30 minutes from the scheduled times. According to the CEB, these are the times scheduled for the power outages. Zones I, J, K and L from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Zones R, S, T, W, U and V from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Zones A, B, C, D, P and Q from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. and zones E, F, G and H from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. The Norachole power plant remains inactive, resulting in a loss of nearly 900 megawatts to the national grid. As a result, the current power generation capacity is operating at just 30%.
The Electricity Consumers Association filed a complaint with the Criminal Investigations Department this morning over the island-wide power outage.
We want to know what caused the nationwide power outage on the 9th of February at 11:15 a.m. It wasn't caused by some monkey. It was the result of a group of careless engineers. This is a national issue. The Ceylon Electricity Board is yet to assess the damage, and they've been neglecting their duties. If this was done intentionally, it is a serious crime. We are informing the Criminal Investigations Department that this is a clear dereliction of duty. This is not just about a technical failure. It's about the country's resources and the well-being of the people. We demand an immediate investigation and accountability for those responsible. No one has been held accountable so far.
Former Energy Minister Patali Champika Ranawaka has raised concerns that there may be another underlying reason behind the power outage, urging the government to step in and investigate the issue immediately.
There's another issue regarding why the Lakvijaya power station shut down. There's no reason for it to have stopped, especially since it had been operating for about 14 years. While there have been some problems in the past, they've mostly been resolved. Even if there's no external demand, the Lakvijaya power station should be able to meet its own needs. It should be capable of operating with just the domestic load. If not, then every time the country faces a power outage, the Lakvijaya power station will shut down. Supply will be affected. This is not an issue caused by external factors like a monkey. It's a problem with the administration at the Lakvijaya power station.
The artificially built beach in Mount Lavinia has eroded.
The Mount Lavinia beach, which has long been a popular destination for both locals and tourists, is now eroding. The artificial beach that was built as part of the Colombo South Sand Nourishment Project is no longer visible. The project, which aimed to develop the Khalido, Angulana and Mount Lavinia beaches, began in the year 2021. Sand filling at Mount Lavinia beach was carried out in April 2021 under strict police security amid the country's travel restrictions. The contract for the entire project was valued at 890 million and was awarded to a Danish company. Unfortunately, the ongoing erosion has raised concerns about the long-term effectiveness of these artificial interventions in preserving the coastline.
Millions of dollars have been wasted. Simply filling the beach with sand isn't a lasting solution. A rock wall should have been constructed to provide a solid barrier, allowing the sand to accumulate and remain in place. If the goal was to truly protect the environment, a wall would have been the right approach. Filling the beach with sand is futile, as it will erode over time. Even a child from Mount Lavinia could tell you that. They came, filled the beach once, but ignored the concerns of the fishermen and others. Now they no longer catch fish. The environmental damage is becoming more and more apparent.
A total of 150,000 cubic meters of sand was artificially pumped along the Mount Lavinia coastline as part of the Colombo South Sand Nourishment Project.
Up next is what happened to the village. On tonight's segment, we focus on a story about a water project funded with millions of rupees of public money that was started and then simply abandoned.
What happened to the village?
Imagine a community desperately in need of clean drinking water. That is the reality for the people around Visaliyawatta in Balanguda. Back in 2021, the government launched a project to bring them relief, a hefty 230 million rupees. They even spent 150 million rupees, enough to build 2 water tanks and a 2-story building to house the project. And then the project stalled.
මිනිස්සු මැරෙනවා වතුර උසලා උදේ වතුර ගේන්න ඕනි ළමයින්ට ඉස්කෝල යන්න වතුර දෙන්න කිලෝමීටරයක් විතර ඉස්කෝල යන්න ඕනි කිලෝමීටරයක් විතර වතුර අදින්න ඕනි
අපි උදේට 4ට ගිහිල්ලා වතුර අදගෙන ඇවිල්ලා තමයි ළමයි ඉස්කෝලේ යවලා ආපුව අපි වැඩට යන්නේ. ඒ වතුරින්ද අපිට අද දවසක් වැඩට ගියොත් එට ගෙදර. ළමයි නාවන්නවත් බොන්නවත් টয়ලට් එක යන්නවත් අපිට වතුර නැහැ.
For roughly 3,000 families, this unfinished project represents a lifeline they're still waiting for. The local government elections are just around the corner too. Shouldn't someone be looking into this before the situation worsens?
What happened to the village? News First with the people.
Moving on with more local news, the Asia Society India Centre, in collaboration with the Kala South Asia Festival, hosted conversations in Colombo over the past few days, focusing on promoting cultural practices from across South Asia.
Kala South Asia is a platform highlighting South Asian modern and contemporary art through residencies, interdisciplinary programs and curated sessions for art collectors. The festival's second edition kicked off on the 10th of February and will continue until the 28th of February. Asia Society India Centre, as a part of this festival, presented conversations reflecting their mandate to promote cultural practices from across South Asia.
For every course we organize, we always collaborate with a community organization who is embedded in the community and who we have existing relationships with, who we either reach out to or they reach out to us to organize something. And so there's a mutual kind of interest and decision that let's do something together.
As co-founders of the Karachila Jamia, an anti-institution focused on radical art education, they shared insights into their interdisciplinary practices, highlighting their research, teaching methods and work with indigenous communities.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in the US capital today after a visit to France, where he had co-chaired the AI Action Summit with French President Emmanuel Macron.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Washington DC today for a bilateral meeting with US President Donald Trump. Prime Minister Modi will be the fourth global leader to meet Trump at the White House since his inauguration on the 20th of January. The meeting between the two leaders comes amid heightened tensions surrounding Trump's trade tariffs on several countries, his controversial Gaza peace plan, and his ongoing mass deportation of illegal immigrants. These issues are likely to feature prominently in their discussions as both leaders seek to strengthen bilateral ties. During his visit, Prime Minister Modi is also expected to meet with Elon Musk in Washington. Reports indicate that the two leaders may discuss Starlink's delayed plans to launch satellite broadband services in India. Prime Minister Modi met with Tulsi Gabbard, US Director of National Intelligence, and discussed various aspects of ties between the two countries, with focus on enhancing intelligence cooperation in counter-terrorism and emerging threats.
The Photographic Society of America is currently touring Sri Lanka. Today, the group visited Gampaha to witness the Angampura martial arts.
Well, we leave you tonight with details of their visits. Good night and take care.
Happy headlines.
The Photographic Society of America, currently on an 8-day tour of Sri Lanka, visited the Pilikuttuwa Raja Mahaviharaya in Gampaha. They witnessed Angampura, which is a unique martial art that originated in Sri Lanka. They captured stunning images of the traditional art.
This kind of martial arts is something very important, and I think it has a lot to offer and to promote Sri Lanka and the tourism of Sri Lanka. Because as photographers we are going to publish these pictures in our countries, and then other people are going to see them and come to have this spectacular event.
The Photographic Society of America also witnessed the Navam Perahera last night.
I'm having a wonderful time here this evening at this wonderful cultural event. We travelled over 21 hours from Los Angeles to be here, and I'm just having a wonderful time.
63 photographers from 20 different countries were present at the event.